the people who watch this, if any,
God help them.
if any, they're gonna be thrilled, and we need them to put a little bit of pressure on Phil to finish Reverse Retro 1, because after this, we're almost done.
With Reverse Retro,
What
we
do
got
we
nothing
talk
else.
about? Phil,
Not a lot of
what did we
teams to
talk
cover.
about?
Do you understand that some of those round ones are really hard to find,
I
or super expensive?
I understand. And while I sympathize, I also need you to get that done.
Well, once we
started this
with that YouTube money, well, we can start investing.
Yes, everyone subscribe till that YouTube money's up.
You guys are making money? We got 4 more to go.
Next on Ugly Thirds.
Welcome back, sports fans, to another episode of Ugly Thirds. Today's topic is the leftovers of the Reverse Retro Round 2, Part 2 video. John and Shrems, take it away.
I really like
That
that
was
wince you
meaty.
did.
Meaty.
You winced whenever you
Well,
realized
when I looked at you, I also looked at the light, and so I just got blinded for a second.
Blinded. So
There's
in the theme to Gilligan's Island, we used to be better known than the national anthem.
Yeah.
But Gilligan's Island is on as much.
Mm.
In the original ending, you know the castaways, right?
I do, yeah.
So if Gilligan and the skipper to millionaire and his wife.
Yeah.
What's the rest of that song?
I don't know.
The movie star, and it used to say "and the rest."
It did used to say "and the rest."
And the rest. I think his whole first season was "and the rest."
What did it change to?
The Professor and Mary Ann here on Gilligan's. Like, they didn't get in those 2 people, and that's basically what this list is. These are the ones we didn't get in.
The due diligence that we need to make sure that this is not done in vain.
That story took 3 blocks to come back to its point, but go ahead.
It's a long walk. It's a long walk.
There's an ice cream truck halfway, so
ice cream.
The Kings.
And look, it's a good jersey.
It's fine.
It's a good jersey. I mean, I got nothing against this. It was a good era to throw back to, and everyone forgets they did the Flyers over the shoulder stripe. Right? I didn't realize you even had one when we got to the LA episode.
Yeah.
You know?
But they threw back to this for, if I'm not mistaken, a 3rd time in their franchise history, because they did it in the mid-90s for a game. They did it in the Reebok era for a couple years.
No, because they went to the plain ones, I thought, in Reebok. In '94, they did these. The ones that are just plain purple with the single stripes.
Yeah.
Looks like Detroit.
Maybe. Same idea, though.
Well, that's just it.
Gotcha,
People combine those 2 eras so much that it was nice to see this. Not the purple version of the Chevy logo they did the first time around.
Yeah.
Which we have someday.
Makes sense.
It's hard to find.
So, it's fine. It's a good
fine.
jersey. They've had a good pick. I got nothing against it. But does it crack any of the lists?
Where would I put it?
Right.
I'm done talking about it.
It's not best of. It's not worst of. It's not super clever. It's not.
It exists in fabric. Why is this on here? You talked to this guy up.
Well, so as a Pittsburgh fan, it's very easy to get into that Pittsburgh bubble. There is a bubble, a sports bubble in Pittsburgh, where in that bubble, the Pittsburgh teams are the best things that's ever happened, the only thing that's ever mattered, and the greatest thing. We are the city of champions.
Yeah.
Champions, right? And that's like, I didn't realize that until I left for a few years and was removed from the Pittsburgh sports media continuously. That okay, maybe I have a bias in that. So I do try and stay away from the Pittsburgh content as much as possible, because I can wax poetic about this stuff and insist it's the best thing ever. As a true Yinzer at I am an A, right? It's not hard to get into that mode. And so to just throw it in there as top 3, I thought was maybe a bit biased.
It did its assignment very well.
It did. And there's actually some deeper stories to this that we're going to save for another video. But it's a good reverse retro. And putting it 4th or 5th, I think, is absolutely reasonable.
Yeah. It's not in that top 3, but it was a good safe play. Like it wasn't completely off the wall, all yellow with black, and like they did it right. Same thing with the next one here,
which we did cover. I think that we published that episode.
Yeah, 100%.
Comparing this to the original, and I actually think it does better than the original. right? I think it's a good look. It's not as garish as the gold one was. It's still a big, goofy, anatomically accurate bear, but it's good. It's just rare. It's just rare.
Phil recognized the bear.
And putting this fourth or fifth, I have no problem. Look, I mean, when it came to our top five, because what we said, Nashville, Minnesota, and Vancouver.
Right.
I think Vancouver's unquestionable.
Yeah.
I think Minnesota is very good, but very similar to their first one.
You could swap out Minnesota for one of these, and I'd be fine with
I think a lot of people would have swapped out Nashville for one of these.
Yeah.
But which one?
Yeah.
Right?
It's like a rotating door. Like
I mean, and so like, and I think part of it was the simple, Pittsburgh. I don't want to be too biased. I think that's very good, and I personally love our last one.
Yeah.
I think that's spectacular because so the original, right? It's still the weird pedestal. I think the black just pops better, even though, yes, I realize black as a flame, it doesn't really work, but the idea is to reverse a retro. And as far as reversing a retro and making it still look really good,
Yeah.
and everyone forgets this era existed.
I love the explanation from the guy when they did the little vignette on I can't think, it was like TSN. They're like, so why do that? He goes, I don't know.
Just look good. And he went with it. And so there's a pedestal. Like,
it reminds me of the screensavers, of the thing bouncing
Yeah.
up and down. It has a little tail behind it.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well, all of these are good jerseys.
Yeah.
And if you put them in the top three, I don't think I'd question. We just didn't.
Yeah.
It's kind of the opposite of our part one of these. Like, these are good. They're not top tier in my mind.
They hold their own.
They hold their own very well.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones were just better.
Yeah, the other three were just better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's, sometimes you just get outplayed. There's nothing wring with that. Nothing wrong with that.
These are A minuses, maybe.
The other ones are A pluses.
They're still A's, just slightly different.
Yeah. So, tell us your thoughts. Which one of the, if you had to pick one to swap in, which would it be? Rank them. Give us a comment. He's Shrems. I'm John. Phil, take us out.
Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and tune in for another episode of Ugly Thirds.
What do we say?
Rubber baby buggy bumpers.
Baba booey, baba booey.